Hope you guys enjoyed the segment of practice that you guys were in there. And it's on, right? 2020 Ducks, first impression. The physicality of our football team was always going to be a point of emphasis, showed. Their conditioning showed up. We look faster. Certainly on defense, we look like a veteran defense in the way that we run around, the way we get our communication established and whatnot. Offensively, these guys have really taken to a new system very quickly and saw a lot of really good things day one. So that being said, ready to go over whatever questions you have.
When you lose 4 starters along the offensive line and you're coming into a spring like this, who's kind of setting the tone, like you said, like with the physical play with this new group? And
well, until you get in pads, it's hard to tell that. But in terms of just by the way they carry themselves and the sense of urgency they play with, is always going to give you a pretty good indication of who's ready. Offensive line play can't be a world of hesitation. You got to go up there with a lot of confidence. Know what you're doing, know what the defense is doing, and then understand hat placement, hand position, right? Coming out with a foot back and playing good football. So stuff like that only comes with repetition, but also comes with knowing exactly what you're doing. And there's some guys that have waited their turn, and there's some young, talented guys that now they're going to be put in a situation where they're going to have an opportunity. So we're going to let those guys play hard against a veteran defense and see how it shakes out.
Patasi was a guy who was working with the second team a little in bowl practices, but saw him out there today with the first team and Alex at center. What have you just Sam Patasi?
Yes.
Just what has he done to where he was a guy who was way down, a year ago and he was injured and all that. Now he's way up.
He had an injury in the bowl game last year, and took an entire 6-7 months to get back on track. He was about 282 pounds. Strength numbers were very low, and he just took an entire year to get his body make it different. Weighing 300 plus pounds. His power clean numbers, bench numbers, squat numbers have really exploded. This has really changed his entire just demeanor towards the game of football, and it's going to be rewarded with an opportunity. So proud of him and what he's done, and looking forward to him in pads.
Where does Ryan Walk fit when he does get back? I know he's one of the ill guys right now.
Yeah, we got a couple guys sick today. Ryan Walk was going to take snaps with the ones today at center. Him, Alex Forsythe, Jonathan Dennis. We got everybody snapping, right? Because that's although other guys have played inside, not a ton of guys have gotten reps at center. Sir Throckmorton was a guy that would slide in there whenever we had an issue. So we're getting as many guys as possible reps at center.
When you played at January 1 and you're back here on March 4th, is it almost a little more carryover than maybe some in the old days where it would have been like a December to an April type thing? Does this almost feel a little bit like continuation of last season?
It's just it's the next phase. The way we look at it, it's football. You have seasons within seasons, and you can't skip any of them. The winter conditioning we got out of it exactly what we wanted to get out of it. I think it showed up today because we wanted them to be in some type of uncomfortable. I mean, it's not super uncomfortable in there, but certainly not as nice as out here. And I feel like from a culture standpoint, yes, we picked up where we left off. I thought from just wanting to get better, staying humble, hungry, and driven, I thought there was another step in the right direction, and another step towards elevating the culture. So, I usually, by now, like question 5, I usually kind of lose track and don't answer the question, but I hope I can. Well, it's just guys are sweating. When you turn up the temperature a little bit and you make sure that they have to keep a high tempo. Now they're sweating. Now they're being pushed and being, when you run extended play drives, it tests them. It tests their conditioning and the work that they did with Coach Feld and the rest of the conditioning staff in the summer, while, at least on offense, learning a new system, and on special teams, pouring a ton of emphasis on our coverage teams, which is an area that we must improve upon to be a better football team.
Is that why you were inside? Because it was nice outside too. Were you inside because you wanted to kind of turn it up on them a little bit?
Yeah, we want to turn it up right away. These guys, we have 5 practices before we have spring break, and we're not trying to make it miserable by any extent, but we do want to, football means a lot here, and spring football means everything to us. It is a betterment period, so we don't waste an opportunity. We steal reps wherever we can, and that's another repetition or another session in a climate that's going to be more like what we're going to see in the fall.
You've got a pretty wide open competition on the edges on defense behind KT and Mace. Andrew moves to the outside, loses some weight, but guys who redshirted last year, Trevin and Isaac, both gain now a lot more body type wise, seem to be what you're looking for. What do those guys bring as that competition for backup roles?
Yeah, length, power, size, athletic ability, a lot of range, right? In the QB run game today, nowadays, width, length, wingspan, all those things are really important. Guys that can bend, redirect, play the dive, also play the quarterback. Those guys tend to make things a little bit easier on defense. 2nd and 7, 2nd and 8, as opposed to 2nd and 4. And those guys are really smart guys too. High effort guys, high motor guys. We think all those guys are up for a big spring.
First look at the quarterbacks. What do you see?
I see guys that have been working, and it's their time. I know that Coach Moorhead seemed really pleased with the guys day one. They can sling it. They're smart. They have a good command. Even though we're new in this system, they have a great presence about them. The way that they just handle themselves and carry themselves amongst their teammates and at the line of scrimmage. Really impressed with day one. Expect these guys to get better exponentially as spring goes on.
Kale 100%.
He is 100%. He is 100% and practice 100% today.
You moved Thomas around a little bit defensively, Thomas Graham. What's gone behind that, and what's the plan with him?
We are expecting, we're going to move some guys around and try some different combinations. We have some really good players back there, and some good young players and some good players coming in. And we want to maximize the ability to play all the multiple personnel groupings that we face throughout the course of the season. You have, in our conference, you have air raid teams, you have 21 personnel teams, you have some new coaches that are going to bring in some new systems. So we want to be prepared to be multiple and at the same time find more playing time and roles for guys.
How receptive has he been to possibly moving around a little
Oh,
bit?
he loves it. I mean, that guy's a football player. He's a team player. He's a football junkie is what he is. And I think when you have a senior that not only knows his assignments but understands what everybody around him is doing, now you have some flexibility. Now those guys become better football players. They become coaches on the field.
Is that what could make him a fit theoretically at nickel or safety or another spot?
He could play anything, but he's our corner. He's our corner. The other stuff is stuff that we are looking at and experimenting with to see how it fits our other packages.
Going back to last year, Mario, CJ was limited all spring on purpose because reps, whatnot. Right. There's nothing to correlate spring to durability. He still faces durability. He dropped 5 pounds. He's now actually under your punter and kicker, heavier than him.
You want to run those guys?
I'm just suggesting, all right, the durability was a question a year ago.
I want to make sure you were happy.
Yeah,
if you want to run the punters and kickers, we'll look at that on Saturday.
You took the approach last year to limit him. It didn't necessarily lead to improved durability. He lost 5 pounds. How do you try to approach him this spring to help with the durability?
I think when a guy that runs as hard as he does, that kind of stuff is a little bit unpredictable. A guy like him that has the right kind of mileage, he plays a lot of downs, we're going to limit those guys in spring football. But we're also going to make sure that they don't get rusty. You don't want a guy just to take a complete step backwards because he was too far away from the game. So he is getting his reps. There are areas that I know he wants to improve upon. And as a backfield, there's some talented guys back there that need some touches as well, need to perfect their craft a little bit more as well. So you'll see a pretty steady rotation. You'll see guys that, aside from CJ, that have a lot of reps to them, a lot of downs to their name. They're going to see those guys held back a little bit, but not in, hey, let's pull this guy away and let the other guys go. Everybody has to play football. Around here, again, football, we're going to play football around here in spring.
Were some of the weight adjustments at running back where Travis gets over 200 and then Sean drops 14 pounds, did that speak more to Travis trying to be a better blocker and take on bigger guys, Sean be more of an outside edge guy?
I think Travis naturally has gained some weight. This is the end of his second year, right? So he's a true sophomore. At a lot of programs, guys like him would be a redshirt freshman. So their bodies are now just trying to adapt, right, to adjust. We have a heck of a training table. You ought to go in there now. That buffet will put 10 on you real quick, okay? And he's put the right kind of 10 pounds on. We think his power has increased. And if you watch Travis run, he's really elusive. He also breaks a lot of tackles, okay? So that's going to benefit him. Sean is a very dynamic player, and the key with him was getting him in great shape. He needed to be in a great physical condition. Part of it was getting his body fat down, improving his body composition. He's done that. He looked really good today. He looked good during this winter conditioning program. So we think he'll have a great spring.
You guys are known for your extensive interview process, but in the month since Moorhead came on to today, have you seen anything that surprised you that maybe just didn't come up in that process?
A little bit more specific, help me out here.
I mean, just what's this month been like since Moorhead's been able to come in, and now that you guys are able to work on the field together and everything?
I gotcha. No, it's been awesome. I mean, that guy, he's as good of a coach as you'll find. I mean, I think we've been fortunate to really hit home runs with our coordinators and our co-coordinators. I mean, we feel that we have a power team. I mean, these guys are all about betterment. as well. These guys are constantly in search of the next best way to get better. And they go way out of their way, not only to help their position group or their position players, they cross over, even on different sides of the ball, to impact people. So I think getting to know Coach Moorhead, diving into his system, all of us getting together, professional developing amongst each other, and then just getting to know each other and being around each other has been really neat. But the interview process, Seattle, it's a grind.
For your staff, just how much extra work has that been? Because with Marcus, you guys have been with him for three plus years or whatever it is. Just getting everybody on the same page there.
It's always going to be work. We talked about that with the players today. I mean, at this time last year, Coach Avalos got here with, I think, 5 days before spring ball. We actually moved it back a couple days, and heads were spinning now. I'm talking about coaches' heads were spinning, not so much the players. So to have him here that much earlier, that's been a monstrous help. But then you watch the way that the defense just steadily just kept finding ways to find windows, within your hourly or your weekly hourly limit, to teach, to find ways to get better. And then a year later, I mean, we went from, I don't know what it was, but, a significant jump in the way that we play football on defense. It's not even close, 2018 to 2019. So we think we'll have similar results with the offense and with Coach Moorhead.
Where do you see the next kind of elevation in Kayvon's game?
Kayvon, I think that, I don't know if you saw him coming out, he's a different body type already. Last year was in the 30s. I mean, he's hitting 50s and plus over there. He takes a lot of pride in what he does. And I'm talking about not just playing the game, not just getting sacks, but technique, using his hands, playing the run, knocking back tight ends, knocking back tackles, getting the signals from the sideline, passing down calls, making adjustments, your tells and your tips. I mean, the guy's hungry to be an elite football player, and he's going to do everything he can to get there, and I think we're going to see that in the spring. I think it starts with playing, the big bodies, now that he has become a big body as well.
You mentioned there's 5 practices before spring break. I guess the next 4, bigger picture-wise, what's just on the agenda of things you want to maybe check off?
Well, it's always going to start with the culture and making sure that this team has learned, and we do it through the winter conditioning program, on how to handle success, right? It's been a little while since, a Rose Bowl, and all of a sudden you get it, and all you hear and all you see are T-shirts and hats and some great highlights is saying hungry and humble and driven, and making sure that technique and fundamentals, relentless effort, execution are at the forefront of everything we do. All about Oregon right now, not any opponent, whatnot, but understanding that everything we do now will have a direct reflection on how we show up against North Dakota State on opening day and the rest of the season. So those things are critical. Now, fundamentally, the way we cover on special teams has got to get better, right? The way we throw and catch, particularly third down, has got to improve. We want to improve our protection, not just the O-line, but the tight ends, the running backs, right? As we learn a new system and establish our identity. The defense, having so many veterans, them is now chasing a new standard that they have set. And it was impressive to watch. I feel good talking about them that way because I think they can handle it. I think you're going to be really pleased when you come out and watch these guys play. You really are. These guys have we all feel that we're just getting started, and that our best football is in the coming years ahead of us, and it starts with the 2020 season.
Your tight ends are starting to fit a pretty similar mold body-wise, but you look at guys like Patrick a year ago who put on a lot of weight since being a high school signee, and then Campmore has dropped over 30 in a year. These guys who are competing for time, and just the body transformation over the last year for guys who are now competing for these starting spots.
Yeah, and I got to mention, guys, it was awesome having Cam McCormick out there. I don't know if you guys got to see him coming out. That was beautiful to watch. He looks great, running great. I mean, to see him healthy, because we know what kind of a player he is now. We missed that guy last year. Missed him a bunch, and certainly missed Jake Breland when he was gone. But to your point is, the tight end in our system, they got to be able to do it all. They got to be able to own a C-gap. They got to be able to knock people off the ball. They got to be able to stretch the field, have enough athletic ability to run the intermediate stuff and the short stuff, and have great hands, make contested catches. So we have found optimum weights and body compositions for these guys, and they've attacked it. And they are moving well. They are smart. They are tough. They are a huge part of the offense.
Couple more. Why would Andrew Fowler, why is that a good fit at outside linebacker?
Well, I think we got to find a role for him. He's a really good football player. He's tough. He's physical. He's got great natural pass rush ability, uses his hands well. plays the C gap really well, can also play the edge well, and feel that, when he stands up, okay, he's pretty effective. So in just moving him around and kind of tinkering with his techniques in the winter conditioning program, there seemed like there was a lot of natural ability there. Plus, it gives him an opportunity to compete, maybe get a little more playing time. And we're proud of him. He's really worked hard. He's done a great job, and we want to find ways to get him on the field.
How close is Noah Sewell to practicing? Looks like he was limited today.
Yeah, I think he will be. I think we'll be really close by. To be safe, let's say when we come back from spring break. Can't wait to see that guy. Can't wait to see that guy. I don't know if his parents want to see a collision with 1 and 58, but we'll try to. It is what it is, right?
He's an inside linebacker.
He is an inside linebacker. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Much was made about the quarterback running, not running, and the ongoing debate of that. With Tyler expected, or whoever it is, expected to run a bit more with Joe's system. A lot was made in the pre-draft process with Justin about weighing in at 226, and now he's in the 230s, but still a little low for a guy that big. Tyler and Jay are similar size, and if Joe's going to look to run them more, do you want your quarterbacks, who you did not run before, with Justin, to add a few more pounds this offseason if they're going to be asked to run more?
Well, the guys that are going to carry the ball, it's going to be all dependent upon what helps us win football games. Whether the guy runs it 2 times or runs it 10 times will always be dictated by who we're playing against and what we see can be something to help us. Now, we're not going to run a guy into the ground. Justin didn't run that much last year, and one thing he did, for all 14 games, he was still upright and playing, And the previous year, when we lost him, it was hard, So those guys are physically capable. They're not the 240 pounds, inside runner types, but they can do that as well. It's certainly a part of an offense, and we'll always explore when it's best to use that. But to commit to that game plan right now, we're going to have to put that on hold until further notice. Is that all right with you? You want the game plan right now. This guy's he's always looking for game plans. He's SEC guys, man. Always looking for game plans early. Bro, it's March, okay? August, September coming down the line. I'm just messing with you.
You haven't watched any tape of North Dakota State or Ohio State.
We've watched tape on everybody.
Yeah, exactly.
We've watched tape on everybody. Well, at this time of year, we already start that process. So 6 opponents have already fully been broken down, and so we could add these components to our offseason program.
Last one.
In week 8, you guys
I was ready for that one. I was. No, but for real, I really appreciate you guys being here. I hope you're getting what you need to and watching the guys as they run around. I know we got some media time with those guys coming up, but it's going to be a great spring, guys. Appreciate you being here. Okay.